All right, so I'm here with David Chamberlain for our next episode. We're just talking about hybrid athletes. So we're gonna, I guess I wanted to just let people in on some of our conversation about hybrid athletes. You know, I think so. Dave,
My wife and I are both realtors.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I guess
Yeah,
that's that funny.
yeah. It's funny because like I'm gonna give some backstory. Sorry,
Okay.
your wife and you are.
Both realtors here in
Yep.
town, have been for 10 years.
Yep.
And I think we're fortunate enough to be able to work and live in this phenomenal town.
Yeah, because like everybody wants to live in Ellensburg,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, we went to college here. Everyone I met David, I think in like 2008, 2009. We were both still at college.
Mm-hmm.
David was slinging beers at the Palace. And, you know, it's funny to see, and like we just grew up together, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I think we, you know, like we look at high school and like now it's almost like
Well,
we
it's been
spent
like
more
almost 20
time.
years.
Yeah. So like we
Crazy.
know each other longer than, you know, like high school.
And
But
high school,
anyways, it's been fun to see, like you've been doing CrossFit for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to see this like athlete you've become. Cause like at our gym, we talk about you being a fire breather, which is like just a joke of saying like, you can just do more than like most of the fitness athletes,
Mhm.
you know?
It's definitely a term that not a lot of people hear.
Yeah, I
It was
know.
brought up recently, and I think
Yeah.
people were like, what the heck
What's
is
a fire breather, right?
It's like very old school, you
Yeah.
know? But it's fun to see, you know, it's just, sometimes it's even weights that, some of us really can't even fathom doing
Like
multiple
lifting,
times,
right.
you know? Maybe a 225 clean, 10 times in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
It just seems astronomical.
Dude, and it's like, it's so crazy to me because like, you know, I think the world of fitness and the world of exercise has changed so much, like from when we were in college, like 20 years ago
Yeah.
to now, where it's like, you know, you were the first person to introduce like the idea of a hybrid athlete. And I'm like, what the hell is a hybrid athlete? Like, what a weird thing. But like, the more I research it, I'm like, dude, this is like what we should all be. Like, we should
Mhm.
all be, you know, this. So maybe you can like talk about what a hybrid athlete.
Well, I think, yeah,
is,
it's a really good question because I think with CrossFit, we do a lot of weight training, we
Mhm.
do a lot of lifting, gymnastics, all
Mhm.
of that different stuff. And I think that, coming from a little bit of a running background from high school, doing
Mhm.
cross country and stuff like that, I found that I woke up one day just
cool.
like, where did my 3-mile time go? Where did my 1-mile time go?
Yeah.
Just kind of left the running scene behind and, picking that back up and seeing, wow, I've been training with heavy weights for a long time. Like, why don't I start getting a little bit more into longer distance, still working on the weight training
Yeah.
and finding that, the distance is not that bad.
Yeah.
And so extending your endurance, it's just a fun experiment. It's been fun to
Dude, that's
play
the,
around with.
that's what we were talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
the experiment,
Mhm.
David. Like that's why I'm like I'm trying to follow in David's footsteps. So like, just to let you know, David can lift really. So if we were to like digress back a little bit, what a hybrid athlete is, someone that can run really like a long distance, right? And also lift really heavy. Like we joke about this, but like it's like, you
This
think of
idea that you
someone-
have to pick one or the
yeah,
other.
and we could do both.
Yeah. And, this is just still so new too. This is within the last
Yeah,
year.
dude, it's
And
so
it's
fun.
been exciting to kind of extend the distance, see my training change slightly, but really I've lightened up a little bit on the weight training slightly just for the moment and my time at the gym. But really it's just to kind of catch up on my running a little bit. But
Oh,
I'm
I love that,
excited
dude.
after this next weekend and we can go into it more. But like, I'm excited to get back into the gym 5 days, back to a consistent instead of just, 2 or 3 days a week,
Right.
get back in 5 days a week and keep my running going because I think that our bodies are capable of way more than we
Dude,
give ourselves
and,
credit to.
like I think that's so funny, right? Like David, when someone thinks of a long distance runner, you think someone that's like maybe 6 foot, maybe 5'10" to 6 foot, 155 pounds,
Yeah.
like running this pace, and then like someone that lifts weights, they're like just like thick and giant, but like just finding that middle area, it's like a fun little experiment
It
that
is,
like
yeah.
in 2025.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
I think a lot of people that hear, that I've extended my distances and running these longer runs and stuff like that, they just expect that I'm just gonna go down to 165.
Yeah.
And all of my weights, my weight
Yeah.
training is gonna go out the window. But really, my plan is to just keep the weights, and if not, increase my weights and extend those distances. But time will tell.
Dude, I think it's like kind of funny because why are we doing this, right? Like it seems so stupid. Like, why are we doing this? It's like, I think the part that I admire so much about you, man, is like this idea of like discipline because it requires a lot of discipline to lift big old weights. Like, just to put things in perspective, like, what are you deadlifting? Like 4, 5,
over 400. Yeah.
a little over 400. Like you're saying it nonchalantly, but then now you can also run upwards of like 40 miles. Like right now you're training for like a race, like where you're running 40 miles.
Correct.
Yeah. So like
this Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that race.
So
man.
it's an interesting kind of program where the way it's structured is they have a 4.1 mile loop, and you do one loop every hour on the hour indefinitely until the last person is out there running their last loop. Dude. So this was developed several years ago, I think, by the guy that, if you watch the documentary, the Barclays Marathons, kind of an eccentric guy, smokes a cigarette while he's out there running these crazy runs. But the idea is that, if you did say 24 hours of these loops, you would accumulate 100 miles. And so that's where the 4.1 plus miles came from. And so to put it in perspective, this particular course that is down on the Columbia River, last year, the first place person ran for 40 hours straight.
Dude, that's crazy. So 4 miles every hour.
Yeah. And so he accumulated 169 miles over the course of 40 hours.
That is,
and so no sleep. Yeah, because
crazy.
You're coming in, say, around 40 to 50 minutes. And so you have about 10, 15 minutes of rest. Some gals might take a couple minute rest, something like that, lay their head down. But, you're refueling, you're going to the bathroom, you're changing socks, you're,
Dude, why would someone want to do that?
Honestly, that's a really good question. And so my thought on this, and I don't know if it's everybody, but the way that these are structured is it helps somebody that has not done, ultra marathons, an opportunity to test the waters of your own capabilities for distance without a commitment. And so what I mean by that is, if you have a goal for 40 miles, you don't have to commit to the 40 miles and you're stuck out there at mile 36 and having to ride a four-wheeler back in or get picked up, right? You're doing a 4-mile loop. You go until you can't go any further, and it really extends people's abilities to go further, and people primarily PR big time on these types of runs.
Yeah, so. Dude, I know, because really our eyes on the prize of Leadville 100, right?
Well, we'll see.
And if you guys want to see a crazy run, go YouTube Leadville 100. Yeah. Dude, I'm going to ask some questions for you.
He just has to come out with the Leadville 100.
I have to, dude. Okay.
I probably couldn't even go out there and do the damn pass right now. The 3-mile pass up and back.
Dude, I don't think most people can't even walk that. Yeah.
With the elevation.
You got to do it twice. I know. That's the biggest fear. Yeah. Dude, so what do you think, what do you think is the biggest misconception? You and I are 5'7", right? What's the biggest misconception for guys like us for running? Or both, really, right?
So with running, obviously everybody hears, if you're shorter, you can't run as fast. And, when we're comparing ourselves, when you're comparing it to people that are running sub-6, sub-5 minute marathons, obviously that's going to be challenging. And we'll have had to train since we were kids.
Yes.
We wouldn't have been able to take on, a career in PT or real estate, anything like that. It'd be focusing on our mile time.
Right.
And so, the goal here isn't to get a sub 5 minute average marathon.
Right.
It's how do we just get stronger and faster every day throughout a lifetime, and keep healthy. And I don't think that the eye is on the prize of a 4 minute mile or something like that, right?
Yeah, we're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
It's this stimulus where we're dude, can we do this? Can we challenge ourselves?
Increasing our endurance, right? If our everyday life, if we're able to run, 8 miles, 10, 20, 30, whatever the mileage is, that's something that we couldn't do last year or the year before. And I think that that's important. Not necessarily can we run a super fast marathon.
Yeah, dude, I think a lot of people eat, whether at the CrossFit gym or regular gym or running, I think personally, for me, I just got to 2 miles running comfortably. Dude, that took so long. Yeah. And I think when we use the word discipline and consistency interchangeably, but I think they're the same thing. We just keep showing up when we don't want to.
Yeah. And I think there's a balance too of rushing it. And so, if you have your sights set on a 3 mile or a 10K or whatever the mileage is, if you start looking at all the people around you, you're going to think you need to train harder or faster and more distance too fast. And that's really going to ruin your ability to get there. And so taking it in little increments and making sure that you listen to your body.
Yeah. Dude, that's funny you say that, because I feel like David hopped into running and he just was so fast. I tried to hop in just like you. It was impossible. I've never run cross country. you know, I barely like, I've just learned how to lift weights. I still consider myself a novice, doing like almost 3 years now. Dude,
Yeah,
you're
it's still
a
early.
novice runner, right? Like
I
a
feel like
novice runner,
now.
like it's
I'm a
crazy.
novice runner
And
now.
like, to me, I look at you and I'm like, whoa, like you're not a novice runner. You're like crushing like 8 to 10 miles, sometimes a day, you know? And
Yeah.
I think
But it is so important, whether it's 8 miles or if it's 2, you have to read your body. And one thing that I have done more recently in the last few months is tracking, you know, doing a lot of tracking, sleeping, recovery and stuff like that. And so where maybe if I wasn't tracking, I'd be like, I need to stick with my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday run, my long run on the weekend, no matter what. And I might be training at the gym 5 days a week. That's going to create a possibility of injury. And you know that better than anybody. And so it's listening to your body, maybe tracking your sleep, tracking different metrics to make sure that maybe you think you're supposed to run that 2 mile today, but maybe you'd be better off taking a day or two off and keeping healthy instead of running into injury.
I think I would agree with you for like an athlete like yourself, but like someone that has like never exercised, like, I mean,
what, listening to your body?
Yeah, like we want that, but like we don't need some fancy like watch or anything like that, you know? Like for you, I think it's really valuable when you have like a nice watch, checking your HRV.
Yeah, I think, that was a little bit, I guess, out of context. I guess do it all without a watch. I think like tracking your sleep. So like if, you know, the night before you got 5 or 6 hours of crappy sleep, because life gets, you know, in front of us, but you still had that 2 mile run planned for today and you're like, I got to get that 2 mile run. But you know you got bad sleep. Take that day off. You're going to feel so much better if you do it tomorrow or even the next day. Don't be weird about taking 2 days off to recover, because you're going to be able to hit it. You're going to feel so good in 2 days. I
can personally like attest to that. Because there's been days where I'm like, I got crappy sleep, but like my schedule says I have to run.
I got to get it.
Right. And I think, you know, I think for people that have never exercised, because like that's the world sometimes I live in, right, David? Like, I like metrics. I think you bring up a really good point. So like, what about a metric like yesterday? I walked a mile and it took me 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Today I walked a mile. It took me 11 minutes and 48 seconds. Like that's a metric, and I think people don't realize that. Yeah,
I mean walking. I mean, if you haven't ran a lot, literally walking 1, 2, 3 miles, you know, throughout the week, you know, like that is going to get you going.
But at a fast pace, right, David? Like where like it's conversational. Like I think we overcomplicate. We overcomplicate like exercise, you know, and I think I mean, obviously we want everybody to be included, because I think fitness and health is for everyone, right?
Well, that's what it just goes back to that 4-minute mile. Where it's like we don't need to be going for PRs on our mile when we're trying to get our mileage in. If you're shooting for a 5K coming up, you know, I still want to get my 2 miles in today, but I'm really not feeling it. I don't have time tomorrow or the next day because I'm busy with work. Go out and walk walk those 2 miles, and you're still getting distance in. You're still getting that heart rate up.
Dude, I love
That's better than nothing. You know, and keep injury down.
And I think like, you know, someone looks at someone like you and they're like, man, like David's he's just like so good at it. But like what they didn't see was the decade of work you put in, or 15 years of work you put in, right? Like,
but that can also be demoralizing, right? You know,
that's what
I don't have that kind of time.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's where I start to run into the same situation with the running side, because coming back into it, you know, only a year back into running. And it's like, dang, I feel like I'm 20 years behind. Everybody else has been running for the last 20 years.
That's what I want.
And I'm like, I have to keep my head down, and I need to focus, and I need to just keep on listening to my body, because I want to run more miles. I want to run faster today. But when I go out there and I'm not feeling that 8-minute mile, then I need to take it back a little bit.
Dude,
it's so hard.
That is really hard, but I think that's the encouragement I would have for like any of our audiences, right? Like, dude, you're just seeing me running and you're just like, wow, look how successful David is. Like, he's about to do this 40-mile like run, right? But they didn't, like, I know it seems so cliche. Everyone's like you don't see what he did behind the scenes. Like, dude, we're talking about behind the scenes right now. You know?
And it's just like never overextending yourself, you know? Even if you think you've got to hit that mileage, you know, you got to listen to your body.
What do you, like, dude, how would you encourage somebody that is like, dude, I want to get off my couch. Like, I want to get off my couch. I feel super overweight and I'm not like with grace. Like, we're not talking about like, you know, like you're obese, all this stuff.
Yeah,
like,
you know, like even a gym membership, you know, like that's a commitment and stuff like that. And, you know, I think that, you know, CrossFit has been so amazing for that, because when I show up, I have to do the hour class. I'm going to do strength training. going to do a Metcon or something, you know, conditioning wise, and that's phenomenal. But like somebody that's literally coming off the couch, something that I believe can just change the way you feel is get up in the morning before your morning routine that you have. Go out there and walk a half mile. Go walk 1 mile if you're feeling it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot for 30 minutes of walking in the morning. This will change your entire day.
Yeah.
And this will get that motivation going. Like, okay, that wasn't bad, and it just literally makes your day feel great. And that I think is the best first start. Once you start doing that on a consistent basis, maybe think about joining a gym.
Dude, I think that's cool. I agree with you. Like, I think just work out enough that you're like, can I do this again tomorrow? If the answer is no, I'm so sore. When you're just starting, dude, you need to tone it down because we just want you to do it again and again, right? And then do that for a month. Cool. Now let's add a little jog to our walk. And then you're like, man, like I want to join CrossFit or I want to join Anytime Fitness, whatever. Do it. Like, you know, and I think the last piece I think that keeps me motivated is my friends at the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I think we need community.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, that's what this gym has always been about.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what has made it so fun.
But any community, like
Correct.
whether if it's like, you know, TOA or wherever, you got to find community. You can't do this alone.
Yeah,
like, do you agree with that?
I haven't been to TOA, but I would imagine that maybe that same thing is going on there. And
Yeah.
you got to find a good community that works with you and, you know, it resonates with you and it helps motivate you and keep you showing up. You know, we talked a little bit about sleep, you know, as you start to get more comfortable with that, you know, making sure that you're getting adequate, good quality sleep, thinking about nutrition, you know, fueling is a big thing. And, you know, if we're just coming off the couch and we're not doing a lot of exercise and then we ramp this up, if we don't change the way that we eat, we're going to run into injury that way.
Yep.
Sleep and fuel
I would agree
so
with
important as we start to ramp things up with even just morning walks or going to the gym, TOA, whatever it is, you know, you're just increasing, you know, your demand and you need to refuel, you know.
You know, I think, do you find that people make things so complicated for eating? Like,
but I think isn't that like sometimes it's like more for fun. It keeps you focused.
That's kind of cool, right?
Some people are
like, I think for me, I'm just like, hey, it does not have to be organic. If you can just like, does this make you feel good for your workout tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, that's simple, and then we can dial it in further, right? Like right now, you're obsessed with HBOTs.
Nobody really knows what that is.
Yeah, so like hyperbaric, like what's HBOT stand for, David?
Hyperbaric
oxygen therapy, So like, I mean, that makes sense for someone that's training for.
But I mean, wouldn't somebody ask like, I mean, what are you trying to do? Cure cancer, or what do we got here?
No, dude, like,
and it's you know, it's just for recovery.
Why can't? Why? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think like if you want that to help your recovery, I don't think it's anything that's like any more complicated than a massage or ice bath or sauna.
I'm getting my 8 hours of sleep. I need a little extra help.
Dude, I'll take it. Like more steak. I don't know, man.
So what else you got?
That's it, dude.
That's all your questions?
Like I just wanted, we already talked about everything else. I really just wanted to talk about like, you know, I don't think fitness or health has to be this like crazy idea. You just have to start, and then you just need people around you that like.
I like that you put it that like some people like to overcomplicate it. And I think that there's two sides to that. Some overcomplicate it to the point where they don't get to do anything because it's too complicated. Then the other side is I truly believe that some people like to make it complicated to give that a job and an importance, right? Like I'm tracking my, all of my macros, my sleep, all these different things. And it keeps them focused on the task. And I think that if that works for them, then they should. But the side of us that, overcomplicate it and now we can't even get started. We just need to try to figure out how to simplify it.
Dude, it is super fun for me to see you. Like sometimes if you ever need my services, it's way more fun to see you for recovery than when you're like, hey, Kong, I think I tore something. And I think like where you've changed that is, I think you're just more mindful of not like overloading.
For sure.
And like being patient in the time.
It's so hard.
Because you're a novice now.
It's so hard to be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, man. Like everyone's like, all right, I'm going to work out for 4 weeks. I should have lost, 10 pounds and I should have a six pack. It's like, no. How long did it take you to get here? And I mean.
Yeah, it took years to get where we're at, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to take years to recover from
I think that journey's super fun. But anyways.
I don't know. We talked about sleep. We talked about a little bit about nutrition. What else? Just taking it easy when we're getting started.
Repeatable. We want to be able to we want you to be able to do it every day.
Yeah.
Right. And then like, I think it's really interesting that you know, we just want people to know like we're just
Yeah.
normal people. We're just trying to we're going through the same struggles, just at different calibers.
Yeah.
And there's people we reach out to get help. Like, I mean, dude, if you don't know how to eat, like go like free. YouTube is free, but
Yeah.
you want more than YouTube. There's dietitians in town.
Yeah.
You know, there's personal trainers in town. You reach out to them.
Yeah. I think it's good.
Yeah. All right, that's it, dude.